Getting about this, thanks again for tuning into yet another video. Let's go ahead and get into it. Of course, Harley-Davidson stock tanking. What's going on? Is Harley getting the message? I'm pretty sure Harley knows what's going on. All right, they're getting the message. People have been messaging them. They've been blocking comments. They've been doing everything to suppress the outrage from their woke agenda. You guys have been seeing the videos. You guys follow me on Instagram or on TikTok. You guys have seen the CEO. He's pretty liberal about stuff, and he's here to, you know, on the woke agenda, the DEI, the equity. He's all for it. All right, he's all for it. The Livewire is his baby. That was his project. He's proud of it, and that's what he wants for the future. He wants EV. But like I mentioned in my videos, I 100% see it because Euro 5, Euro 6. Of course, you have the current administration. They don't want fossil fuel powered vehicles on the road. They want EV. They want alternative. They want alternative engines or whatever, alternative energy, whatever you want to call it. You guys can decide. I, for one, hate EV. I hate Livewire. Toyota doesn't like it. They do have a hybrid system, but anyways, let's look at the numbers. As far as, you know, you guys, of course, are seeing it that it's in the red, but if we look back, it's actually up from 6 months ago, quite honestly. And I believe this is mainly due to the CVOs and the 2024 touring models. I believe they're a huge hit since release earlier this year. So their stock has been going up. They also announced some buybacks because of how great their profits or their margins, whatever the reports came in before the boycott, before the controversy, all this mess that's going on. Right before it, of course, they had their numbers, the reports, and they did 1 billion shares of buybacks throughout 2026. So I believe that's where some of their stocks has gone up. All right, but like I mentioned, as far as the boycott, I believe social, on the social media and stuff like that, for the most part, I believe it is doing something. But as far as them going out of business or them hurting because of this, I really don't believe that's the case, because the high interest rates, because inflation, because of the current administration's policies that's been going on. All right, you have high interest rates. Some of these bikes, if you go shopping at your dealership, you're looking at probably 15%. If anything below perfect credit score, which is pretty high, guys. 15% financing a bike currently right now, it sucks. All right, I'll be honest. So I believe, for the most part, the cost of living, the high interest rates, and the inflation and the cost of these bikes is what's preventing people from buying them. I don't know as far as the boycott. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, you guys can leave it down in the comments. I believe, for the most part, what really is affecting the stock is, the last 3 years of this nightmare that we've been living through with the Biden-Harris administration. That's just me. Inflation, cost of living, and the interest rates. That's a big one. The cost of living, you have groceries. Look, if you're buying groceries, you're spending about $200 to $300 every time you go. So a motorcycle payment with the high inflation and the high cost of living, is just not doable for a lot of people. You guys already know how expensive these bikes are. They're expensive. All right, so let's look at a few articles. Here, Harley-Davidson dealers say the company is sending them too many motorcycles. And why is that? It's because of the interest rates, inflation, the cost of living. People can't afford the bikes. All right, I believe the average of a Harley-Davidson is somewhere around $24,000 between their more affordable models and their CVOs. It's somewhere in between. I believe it's somewhere like $20-something thousand, which is very unaffordable. So of course they're sending dealers bikes. They expect them to move units, and it's really difficult right now with, once again, interest rates, inflation, cost of living, and I guess a little bit due to the boycott. So here's another article here. Harley-Davidson dealers accusing bike maker of hogging profits. Now, I made a video about how Harley will be shifting or exporting their models, their Revolution Max. They're gonna be exporting those models out to Thailand. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, that equals profits for Harley-Davidson. But like I mentioned in that video, we're not going to see those reductions in costs, even though they are making these outside of the States, which is costing them less on labor and whatever the laws they have in Thailand as far as health insurance, sick leave, annual leave, stuff like that. So this is what they're saying pretty much. They're still paying. They're still making the dealers. They're still making the dealers pay the full price, even though they are manufacturing some of these models outside of the States. Is it fair for the dealers? I guess it's not fair, but even the dealers or the manufacturer, they're not going to pass those savings down to the consumer. I mentioned this in my video. Even though they're going to be saving quite a bit of money making these bikes outside of the States, we're not going to see those discounts. All right, we're going to be paying the same price. Even if they are manufactured or assembled, because they're not manufactured in the USA, even though they're assembled in the USA or they're not assembled in the USA, we're going to be paying the same price. And that's probably where these dealers are at. They want to see some of those savings. They want to get more of the profits if Harley's manufacturing or assembling these bikes outside of the States. So, that being said, manufacturing outside of the States, you still have Polaris, which is the owner or the manufacturer of Indian motorcycles. They're still making their bikes here in the States. The Indian, like I mentioned, they manufacture bikes here in the States, or they assemble them. Guys, I really don't know. There's comments about how the engines are made in China and they ship them over here. Like I said, a lot of the assembling is done here in the States still, even though Harley-Davidson is shifting some of their models overseas. For the most part, their Softails and Milwaukee 8s, their CVOs and their touring models, they're all assembled. I gotta say assembled. They're assembled here in the States. Indian motorcycles, as far as I know, all of the models, they're assembled here in the States. The Scouts, the Baggers, their Chief lineup, their Elite line, all of those are assembled here in the States. So if you're looking at supporting a company that makes their bikes in the States, I guess you could look at this. So looking at the Polaris stock, has it increased? Has it gone up? Has it gone down? The value of the Polaris is, twice as high than the Harley-Davidson. But Polaris, they have multiple different, brand names under their company. They have, I believe, a Can-Am, which is their tricycles or whatever you call those things. I'm not sure. They also, make different bikes. They're a worldwide company. It's not just Indian. So if you guys are comparing the stock to Harley-Davidson, which is at $35, and of course you look at the Polaris, it's twice as high, more than twice. But like I mentioned, they manufacture far more than just Indian bikes. So that's the reason for that. I'm trying to be in the middle with this. I'm not trying to bash Harley-Davidson by saying, hey, look how Polaris is doing so much better. It's not that. It's because they manufacture more than just motorcycles. They also do quads. They do ATVs, I believe. They do multiple different markets, not just two-wheel cruisers. So that's that. Just wanted to share a few things as far as videos that you potentially are seeing out there where they are bashing Harley-Davidson. I think for the most part, I believe it's just the economy. For the most part, yes, some of it has to do with the boycott, but for the majority, it's the economy. It's terrible. Inflation, cost of living, I already mentioned all of this stuff. All of this has an impact on your purchasing power when it comes to something that's not a necessity. This is a recreational hobby. It's a hobby. It's not a necessity. Motorcycles, probably your third vehicle, right? You probably have two vehicles. Your automobile, maybe a truck, maybe an SUV, maybe a family car. Then after that, then you probably have a motorcycle somewhere there, third, fourth vehicle, maybe, potentially. So you guys can let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? I was going to mention probably, you know, I forgot what I was going to mention. There was one more little detail. Oh yes, as far as debadging your bikes, I know it's becoming a trend to debadge your Harleys. My Harleys, they've been debadged way before. All right, I started debadging my bikes way before it was cool. All right, so both of my Harleys are debadged, but this was 3 years ago. Okay, this isn't all part of the boycott. But if you ask me about debadging your bike, I don't think you should do it. Don't debadge your bike. You're gonna lower the value of your bike if you do decide to sell it. You're gonna make it look ugly because some of you guys don't have the skill or the know-how to how to properly remove it without scratching your paint, without, you know, damaging your paint. Don't debadge your bike, guys. For the most part, people are gonna think you're riding a Harley anyways. Let me tell you, when I had my Metric Cruiser, my Honda Shadow, everybody thought it was a Harley-Davidson. Even though it had Shadow on the side of the tank, everybody thought it was a Harley-Davidson. When people see cruisers, they think, oh, that's a Harley-Davidson. They don't know about Suzuki, Kawasaki, BMW now makes them too. They don't know who's the manufacturer, even with the badging and stuff like that. So as far as debadging your Harley or removing the barn shield or stuff like that, don't do it, guys. Don't do it. That's just me. As far as, like I said, you know, getting your message sent out or getting your message heard with what's going on, I don't think you should debadge it because people will still connect your cruiser, your bagger, with Harley-Davidson. So that's just me, though. I don't know. You guys can let me know in the comments. Does debadging really make a difference? I don't think it does because you're damaging your bike. That's just me. I'm just going to say that. So life's a risk. Get out there and ride. Later.